Bob Arum says that people are overlooking Kubrat Pulev. They're just assuming that AJ is going to get through that fight and then be on course for an undisputed against the winner of Wilder Fury 2 or Wilder Fury 3, depending how many times they fight in 2020. Bob Arum says that Pulev is going to remove AJ from the equation. He's going to beat him. Well, if there's ever a time for anybody else to beat AJ outside of Andy Ruiz, it's right now. I don't think AJ's confidence is at its highest at this point. And I think the opponents, the rivals of AJ's, are going to be at their most confident of beating him at this point because he looked weak in the first Andy Ruiz fight. And in the second fight, yes, he won convincingly in terms of it wasn't close, but he didn't exactly look like a killer. He didn't strike fear into people's hearts with the performance that he put in the Ruiz rematch. Whereas before, I think there were certain heavyweights out there who were a little intimidated by fighting AJ. And I think Kubrat Pulev might be one of them. And I've got several Bulgarian people who have been following me here on my channel for a long time. And they'll probably disagree, but that's my assessment of it. I think at one stage, Kubrat Pulev was a little concerned about fighting AJ. I know Kubrat Pulev is a warrior. He's a very macho personality. But at one stage, Pulev's confidence wasn't particularly high. I mean, he went in there against Vladimir Klitschko and he really believed he was going to destroy Klitschko. He ended up getting destroyed. And I think it took a long time for Kubrat Pulev to recover from that psychologically. And during that time, remember, Eddie Hearn was trying to get Pulev to fight AJ. And Pulev kept turning the fight down. Then he was in line to fight AJ instead of Carlos Takam. Remember, he was supposed to fight. Was that mandatory? Was Pulev mandatory then as well? I can't remember. For the IBF. But it was supposed to be AJ Pulev. Pulev pulled out of the fight. Carlos Takam stepped in. So, yeah, for a long time, I think Pulev wasn't really confident about fighting AJ. The pre-Klitschko Pulev probably would have been confident. But the post-Klitschko Pulev, not so confident. But now I think he's got his confidence back. Not just because he's been on a winning streak, but also because he's seen how vulnerable AJ is. So if ever there's a time, and I know Pulev is up there in age, he must be what, 38, 39 now? Close to 40? But he has relatively few miles on the clock. Look, Kubrat Pulev is not in his prime. Let's be real. Yeah? You can't be in your prime at that kind of age when you've had a career as long as Pulev, and he was an amateur for a very long time. You know, he's been a pro a fair number of years. He's not the fighter he used to be a couple years ago. But from a psychological point of view, it's, you know, the best time right now for Kubrat Pulev to fight Anthony Joshua. Yeah, I think Pulev feels confident. He probably feels AJ's not 100% confident. So, going to be interesting. Now, if this fight does happen next, I'm not expecting an easy night's work for Anthony Joshua. I think, again, if this fight had happened 2 years ago, I think it would have been an easier fight for AJ then. Even though AJ might be better from a technical point of view now, back then he had more confidence, and I think Pulev had less confidence, and that would have made the fight easier. AJ back then was trying to seek and destroy. Now, he might try and box with Pulev. If he tries to box with Pulev, that actually plays into Pulev's hands. Kubrat Pulev is a very good long-range boxer. He's got an excellent jab, probably the best jab in the heavyweight division still. I think he's going to give Anthony Joshua a lot of problems with that jab. If AJ decides to box with him, that's Kubrat Pulev's game. I think that AJ is going to have to stick it on Kubrat Pulev in this fight in order to win. He's going to have to take the guy into the trenches. He's going to have to overpower him. Because if you, again, box at long range, Kubrat Pulev is very good at messing with the range, in and out movement, using his jab, being very patient. That's what Pulev does very well. The key to beating Pulev is don't fight his fight. Now, when Kubrat Pulev fought Vladimir Klitschko, he was over-aggressive. And that's what got him caught in the first round. Pretty much after the first round when he got hit and hurt bad, he never really fully recovered. Kubrat Pulev. And I don't think he'll make the same mistake of being so aggressive this time around. So, it's going to be interesting if the fight happens next. I'm expecting a tricky one for AJ, and I'm expecting a fight where if he wins, he's going to have to, abandon the boxing and basically take it to Kubrat Pulev. And if he loses, we could see AJ losing a decision. You wouldn't have thought so because it's going to be on a Matchroom show. And let's be real, when it comes to these cash cow fighters, they usually get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to scoring. Let's be real, okay? But still, you can't write off Kubrat Pulev winning a decision if he does it comprehensively enough. As the mandatory challenger, of course, there will be no rematch if he manages to beat Anthony Joshua. So, look, I'm sure AJ is going to be fully switched on for that fight if it does happen. And, I said prior to the, right after the AJ Ruiz first fight on June 1st, I said that I think AJ should forget about the rematch and go in a different direction for his long-term development as a fighter. That was my assessment. Because, you can jump back in and beat Andy Ruiz. He had the capability of doing that. I said that all along. But you're back in the deep end of the heavyweight division. And are you really going to get time to develop and learn as a fighter? Because this guy was rushed to the heavyweight title. So you stick him back into the deep end again at the heavyweight division as champion. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to take your head off. Do you really get the opportunity to relax, take a step back and learn your craft? No, it's pressure, pressure, pressure all the time. Perform all the time. And look, maybe AJ is that special a character that he can cope with it and he can learn and he can do whatever is necessary and improve in the areas that I feel he needs to improve in, even under the spotlight, even under the pressure of being champion, having all these mandatories thrust upon him. Maybe he can do it. Most fighters can't do it. I can tell you that. As I mentioned before, when Lennox Lewis lost to Oliver McCall the first time, he didn't get an immediate rematch. He had to wait several years to get a shot at the WBC heavyweight title again. And by then, McCall had lost to Frank Bruno. Mike Tyson had beaten Frank Bruno in the rematch. And then Mike Tyson had either relinquished or was stripped of his WBC belt. And Lewis ended up fighting McCall again for the vacant WBC. But there was a hell of a lot of time in between the two Lewis McCall fights, where Lewis fought people like Justin Fortune, Lionel Butler, Tommy Morrison, Ray Mercer. I think there might have been one or two others in there as well. Several fights, learning fights, before he then went in there against Oliver McCall for the rematch. With AJ, well, he's not getting the opportunity to drop the level of opposition a little bit and learn certain things at his own pace. No, he's right back in the fire. It's either Kubrat Pulev or Alexander Usyk. And after that, it's going to be more fire. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I can understand. Obviously, look, Bob Arum is a promoter, so he's obviously going to back his man. Even if he doesn't believe in Kubrat Pulev, he's still going to back him publicly. If Bob Arum wasn't promoting Pulev, he'd probably be saying, Joshua was going to wipe Pulev out. You know how Bob Arum is. So obviously I'm aware that, Bob Arum is going to say what he's saying. But just looking at it from an objective point of view, from a fan perspective, as a boxing fan, I think it's a tricky fight for AJ at this stage, under these circumstances. Yeah? This is not a fighter in AJ whose confidence is at its very highest at this point. Obviously, he would have gained a certain amount of confidence from beating Ruiz in the rematch because of the adversity he had to go through, all the naysayers, all the doubters, all that kind of stuff, the self-doubts. And he overcame all that and secured the victory. So that does give you a certain level of confidence. But again, it wasn't that long ago that he was on the canvas 4 times. That takes something from you. And it takes a while to build that back. Just ask Vladimir Klitschko. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. Is Pulev a real threat to AJ or not? Let me know, people. It's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.